Damn it, I nearly forgot about this tag, and this is one I do every year. I'm glad I remembered, so let's get into it. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be doing the mid-year freak out book tag, a tag I like to do every year because it is a really good check-in to see how my reading is going for the year to date. And there are 13 prompts with this one, so let's get right into it with the first prompt, which is best book you've read so far in 2024. Well, that's an easy answer, and if you've been following me on the channel for a little while, you'll know that it would be Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, Stormlight Archive book number 2. Nothing else comes close to this one this year if you want to count Way of Kings, which does come in second place, but the book just ticked so many boxes for me. I love the characters, I love the world of Roshar. I just can't get enough of Brandon Sanderson's writing at the moment, and he is my favourite contemporary author right at this moment. So a very easy answer to the first prompt. Prompt number 2, best sequel you have read in 2024. Now there are 2 books I picked for this one, the first of which was a title I read as part of the Horror Mayhem reading project back in May, and one of the books I read was Poltergeist to the Other Side, the novelisation of the movie, which was absolutely fantastic. It is a standout for me because with a movie novelisation you get to be inside the characters' heads. For example, if you'll be reading about what Steve's thinking, what Diane's thinking, what Carol Ann's thinking, and there were elements in this book that were never included in the movie, which was a real eye-opener for me because I have seen the movie countless times, and there was a bit of a backstory and more information about Taylor, the Native American shaman from the movie, and I just felt it was just so good to learn different things that you are completely unaware of in the movie. The other book, which was a worthy sequel to me, was The Bands of Mourning, Mistborn Era 2, book number 3, which outshone book number 1 and 2. Book number 2 was the weakest of the 3, and Alloy of Law was fantastic as well, but The Bands of Mourning, everything culminated to a fantastic climax in the icy mountains, and there was a MacGuffin that everyone was after in the book. Now I am a sucker for a MacGuffin where everyone's hunting for it to achieve the ultimate power, and it was a very, very strong sequel for me. Prompt number 3, a new release you haven't read yet but you want to. Now there are a lot of new releases I want to read. If I was to pick one out though that I want to get to very quickly, it would be The Housemaid is Watching by Frida McFadden. It's just been released. I need to go out and buy it, which I will be doing this week. I read the first 2 books in the series and absolutely love them because they are chock full of twists and they're so compelling to read about. And yeah, it's what got me started on Frida McFadden in the first place as one of my favourite thriller writers, because there isn't just a twist at the end of the book. There are multiple twists throughout the books, and they are irresistible, and you just cannot help but turn those pages. Prompt number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now, every year, without fail, it would normally be the next Jack Reacher book. There is a new Reacher book coming in October by Andrew and Lee Child, and normally I would pick that hands down. However, there is another book that I'm looking forward to more, if you could believe it, and that is Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson, book number 5 in the Stormlight Archive, due to be released on December 10, and myself along with every other fan are waiting for it. Even though I'm not quite up to date with the Cosmere, I'm certainly on my way. But it's unheard of for me to not pick a Jack Reacher book as my most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So what does that tell you? It tells you that I'm loving Brandon Sanderson. He is absolutely fantastic. Prompt number 5 is biggest disappointment. Now there is one book here by an indie author. It was called Smoker on the Porch by Dom Watson. Now it started off really well. When I bought the book, the plot premise was very, very interesting and started off really well, but as time went on, things got really weird and I ended up DNFing it because it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and I feel bad about it, but it just wasn't working. It was a little bit too out there for me. Prompt number 6, biggest surprise. Well, the surprise for me came from the Detective Michael Bennett series, where I was pretty outspoken on the channel about not liking the series because the last book was terrible. And I made a bold claim that if future books aren't any better, then I will not continue with the series. Now, I was glad to be proven wrong with Crosshairs, which was the latest book in the series that got released earlier this year, and I was pleased to say that I enjoyed every page. The stakes were really high. It was a really good plot premise about Michael Bennett and his new partner hunting down a sniper killer, and it ticked a lot of boxes, and I'm back on track to enjoying the series again. Prompt number 7 is favourite new author, a debut or new to you. Now, there's only one answer to this question, and if you've been following me on the channel, you know the answer to this one as well. It is Brandon Sanderson, my new favourite author in contemporary times. He's just fantastic. I cannot fault the man. I just love his writing so much. Prompt number 8, newest fictional crush. Now, I don't have a crush as such, but if I have to answer this question, it'll be in the platonic sense. And I'm going to go with Shallan from the Stormlight Archive. It's not a romantic crush by any means. I just find her character very, very strong. She has many, many layers. She has strengths, and she also has vulnerabilities as well. So she's very, very genuine and realistic, and she's very witty as well. And she can hold her own in confrontations, and she has awesome Knights Radiant powers as well, which are very, very impressive. But that's the only character I can think of to answer that prompt. Prompt number 9, new favourite character. If I was to pick a brand new favourite character, for me, it's going to be Wayne from Mistborn Era 2. He can be a bit silly at times, but he's very, very funny with his one-liners and the things he does. He is mischievous, and he'll just make you laugh when you read about him, and he's very, very well written, and underneath all that bravado and macho man persona lies some vulnerabilities there and some depth to him, which is really good. Why does his hands shake when he holds up a weapon or a gun in order to shoot people? Why do his hands shake? What goes through his mind? And there are answers to that in Mistborn Era 2. Prompt number 10, a book that made you cry. Words of Radiance did that. There were several instances where I missed it up. I didn't full-on bawl my eyes out, but I did get a little bit teary in some parts of the book, which was really good. So an easy answer to that prompt. Prompt number 11, a book that made you happy. I'll try not to include a Cosmere book here because that's going to take up the bulk of this tag, but if I'm going to pick another book that made me really happy, it was The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. It was his debut novel. I thought the premise looked really good. I brought it on a whim. I took a chance on it because I had no idea about his writing, and as soon as I cracked open the first page, I was hooked, and it just made me really happy that I was so impressed with it, and the fact that it's left things open for a series, and it used books and magic. What more could you want in terms of a fantasy book? So I was really, really impressed with it. Love the characters, love the tension, love the time travel aspect in the book, which I'm an absolute sucker for. And that's definitely one book that made me happy. Prompt number 12 is the most beautiful book you've brought so far this year or received, and that one has to be my 50th anniversary edition of Carrie by Mr. Stephen King. This is the naked hardback version, which has the gold and red embossing. It has the cloth ribbon bookmark. It has just plain red end papers, which is really good. And there's a quote on the back: "To be invited to prom night is a dream come true for Carrie." It is just a sensational edition. They Hachette are bringing out further 50th anniversary editions with The Shining and The Stand as well in the coming years, and I can't wait to get my hands on those. But this one is definitely the most beautiful book I have bought this year. And finally, prompt number 13 is: what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There are absolutely heaps, so I'll pick out 6 for you. The first one is, of course, In Too Deep, the new Jack Reacher book by Andrew and Lee Child, due to be released in October. I would like to read Dune by Frank Herbert. It's a bucket list read for me, and I would like to get stuck into that. Hopefully I can. And of course there is Wind and Truth, Stormlight Archive, book number 5, due in December. I definitely want to read that before the end of the year, and I'm going to need the rest of December to do it. Now there are 3 more here that I want to touch base with you on, and these were going to be buddy reads with Scott from the Bookish Brides. Unfortunately, Scott passed away recently, which was very, very devastating, because I was looking forward to doing a buddy read with him for these books. But the books in question were At Home with the Horrors, a collection of short stories by an Australian indie author, which sounds really good. Kagan the Damned by Jonathan Maybury, which is a really good fantasy novel I've been wanting to get into for some time. And we've got The Co-Worker by Freda McFadden, which is one that caught his interest, and he wanted to do a buddy read with me on that one. So in order to honour him, I am going to read those 3 books between now and the end of the year, and he may just read them over my shoulder with me, so we'll see how they go. But they are 6 books in particular that I need to read by the end of the year. So that is it, guys, for my mid-year freakout book tag. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I need 3 more subscribers to get to 500. And when I get to 500, I will be doing a live Q&A right here on the channel. Nothing will be off the table. I'll send out invites to a few key fellow booktubers to join me for a celebration, because it has taken 3 years to get there, and hopefully it won't take me as long to get to the next milestone, which will be 1,000 subscribers. So there you go. Offer up any comments below as per usual. I'll promise to deliver the best content I can. But until the next video, guys, happy reading.